Results this afternoon: Toulon beating Castres 37-21. Lyon drew with La Rochelle 16 points apiece. Montpellier, great win for them at home against Bayonne, 33 points to 16. And Toulouse beat Brive by 67 points to 19. The Stade des Alpes is absolutely packed, a sellout 20,000 crowd, and the referee for this one is the very experienced figure of Romain Poit. Remember, there's one game to be played tomorrow. It's live on Sky Sports, 3:15 kickoff, the Paris derby, Racing Metro against Stade Francais. So we're good to go. It's Jonathan Wisniewski, former Racing Metro man himself, who gets us going. Huge game for both teams here. Ludo Radasevic, preferred to Morgan Parra at scrum half, and it's he who puts in the early box kick. Taken in by Rory Grice, a really pacey, athletic number 8. I was talking to Bernard Jackman this week, and he says he's been mightily impressive all season long as Grice, so look out for him. That's Jackson Willison, Charles McLeod, the Springbok at scrum half. And now Gio Aplon, those clever dancing feet of his. He's very tricky, he's diminutive, but he's lively and he's dangerous. And here's Wisniewski, and that's an easy ball for Nico Benvedon, the European Player of the Year, to take.
He's been brilliant, hasn't he, this year? Just Wisniewski's kick there. You just wonder, when you're kicking into the 22, is going to the air really the best option? If you dribble it in along the floor, you're making a Benvedon have to play it, have to clear it. You give him a chance to mark it there. Perhaps pushing that ball through past Benson Stanley here, trying to find the corner is a better option.
They do kick a lot, Grenoble. Wisniewski himself has kicked the ball out of hand over 280 times this season. His 23rd start, Wisniewski, so a very important figure in this Grenoble side. Grenoble's maul worked really well 2 weeks ago against Bayonne, even though they got hammered down at the Stade Jean Jaurès. Here's Charles McLeod for Wisniewski, and that's kick number 286 of the season from him. Up goes Nico Benvedon, very confident, and then Nakatathi, he offloads to Yato, and Yato's got a tremendous try-scoring record this season, so he as well is a man to be watched, the Fijian. Camille Lopez at out half. Brock James injured in the warm-up at Twickenham 2 weeks ago, so Camille Lopez continues. Here's Aplon again. He's frighteningly quick off the mark as Aplon. And it's turnover ball. Ruzari to Radasevic. Fires the wide pass to Nico Benvedon and looks up, checks what's in front of him. And he's got Nakatathi in support now. Yato. The two Fijian-born men working together. Here's Nakatathi offloading with great skill. And now Radasevic as Clermont bear down on the Grenoble line. It's Yato. Grenoble coming in over the ball, surely off their feet. Grice is cleared out of the way. Radasevic and Nico Benvedon. So Clermont making a good start here, playing with great pace. Ulunya. A lot of tempo about this Clermont side in the opening 3 minutes. They've got a penalty advantage here, and they want a bit more than that. Off goes Julien Bardi. Portuguese international Radasevic. Damian Shuli, the club captain, as they inch closer and closer to this Grenoble line. Radasevic. Can they create the numbers? They might not need to, as Camille Lopez goes, and then Thomas Domingo flops over the line for the try. He is certain that he has scored, and Clermont, the nervous Clermont side, who are so determined to avoid the barrage and get into the top 2 and get a home semi-final in the top 14, look to have made the ideal start here.
It was an incredible display of skill and power, wasn't it? But for me, it all came from the kick that we saw way backfield. The line chase up there to turn the ball over. From turnover, it's so much easier to attack. Grenoble immediately on the back foot. And then when you're on the back foot against the likes of Clermont, it's really difficult to defend them, you know, with their attacking prowess. We just see the replay here. There's nothing much wrong with that, is there, it seems?
Well, it shouldn't take too many replays for TMO Bruno Besso to make his mind up there. Clermont took a risk in previous games, playing alternative sides against Castres away and Oyonnax at home, and they lost both of those matches. They've made 9 changes for this match tonight, so again, a little bit of a risk. Well, I understand that they have to possibly freshen up after what they went through at Twickenham last week against a fresh Grenoble side, of course, who haven't played for a fortnight. But at the moment, the risk looks to be paying off. And are they looking in there for a little slight knock-on as Cami Lopez went to ground? And that's what Bruno Besso, I think, is keeping his eyes on here.
It looks very suspiciously like he's just dropped the ball there. If they can nick a win here, Clermont, up at Grenoble, that really puts them in the box seat for finishing in the top 2. They've got Toulon at home next week. Massive game, and you wonder now that Toulon have won with a strong side at home today, whether they will travel up to Clermont and perhaps rest a few players themselves. This part of the season is all about managing their squad.
Moi, je suis d'accord avec toi. Pour moi, il n'y a aucune évidence sur la trajectoire du ballon. On accorde l'essai. Reprise du jeu.
Oh, the try is awarded. Took a few replays for Besso and Platt to make their minds up. But Thomas Domingo, this roller ball loose head, has opened the scoring for the men from the Massif Central.
It's exactly the start they wanted, isn't it? To be fair to Grenoble, they started very physically. Best way to attack a team with, I guess, a few gremlins from last week still lurking around, really get in their faces and see what they're made of.
Beautiful soft hands from Nick Benton there, and then Nakatathi. The offloading was exceptional. And they do have the high skill levels in the side tonight. Those 2 Fijians on the wing and at number 8 already demonstrating that. Here's Wesley Fofana. He's got a pretty decent skill set himself. Now Benson Stanley, the All Black. Radicevic once again inside the 22, looking for the box kick and testing Grenoble aerially and then trying to turn them on the floor, but Charles McLeod gets in there with Jonathan Wisniewski out to the big South African second row, Andrik Roet. Now McLeod, Wisniewski again. Oh, great hit. Phenomenal defensive work there by Yato. McLeod, Wisniewski. And Mignot, the man who came through the Grenoble Academy, just 21 years of age, carries the ball well, getting himself on and beyond the gain line, and that's exactly what Root is trying to do as well. Sets it for McLeod. Here is Jackson Willison looking for the offload, trying to keep the hands free. McLeod again for Root, so using those big ball carriers in the second row repetitively. McLeod to Wisniewski, little dummy. Is never going to be bought by the Clermont defence there as Bardi comes in. McLeod tries to take advantage around the fringes, and they get the penalty.
It's a good series of phases for Grenoble, but you look at the way they attack compared to Clermont, they're quite one out. There's not a lot of movement in their backs. There's a fairly direct nature to the way they attack the game. There's 1 or 2 passes and then someone takes contact. One of these big ball carriers like Root takes contact, and that, when you're trying to break down a defence like Clermont, it's easy for them to defend, to be quite honest. And you flip that on its head and you see the movement that Clermont have, the direction they're given by Lopez and Delaney when he comes on, and Brock James certainly when he's playing. It changes the whole scene for the attack.
And they played Castres here a number of weeks back. Jonathan Wisniewski unbelievably hit the post 4 times, so they don't want a repeat of that this evening.
Must be a record, is it not?
It was quite bizarre. A very fluky night for all the wrong reasons from a Grenoble perspective, but no post hitting this evening, and the fanatical Grenoble support can celebrate. And there is Bernard Jackman one of the coaching staff here, the former Leinster and Ireland hooker.
Brilliant carry that. Knocked off 2 defenders.
Up goes Peter Kimlin, who's in the side in place of Henri van der Glas, who's out for the season, we're hearing, with injury, so that's a big loss for Grenoble. Key man van der Glas. He's been top of the stats in a number of categories. And McLeod back to Wisniewski. As I was saying, they do like to kick out a hand. A double knock on. Yeah, talking to Bernard Jackman this week, and that big defeat against Bayonne 2 weeks ago, very disappointing result for Grenoble, but he was saying that he was happy with the nuts and bolts of Grenoble's play. They got the scrum right, the line out right, they got the maul right, they scored a couple of tries through that method. 67% possession, but this week and the week before they've done a lot of work on their defence, because they conceded 6 tries to Bayonne, a hat-trick for the magisterial Scott Spedding.
And you'd imagine tonight is the night that they really need to be on their defensive mettle, to shut the likes of Clermont out, to shut down the likes of Yato, Benson, Stanley, Rougerie and Nakatasi. It's a tough ask.
Penalty to Clermont. Thomas Domingo is known as a fearsome scrummager. Arnaud Egui going down in the middle of that Grenoble front row.
Interesting, wouldn't it, if you had a chat with some of the front rows, whether they'd be keener to have an older school rugby pitch, as it were, compared to the football pitch. You see so many props slipping, then it becomes a bit of a lottery, doesn't it, in terms of where the ref's going to give a penalty.
As the stadium shared with the Grenoble Football Club, finished in 2008 at a cost of 88 million euros. Fabien Barcella on the loosehead side for Grenoble. He's made a big difference to this Grenoble scrum in recent times. He was brought into the squad only a couple of months ago in February. Barcella with great French international experience. Radasevic, interestingly, is taking the early goal kicks here, and he's been highly successful at it too.
Stocky bloke, to say the least. And he's given that ball a hell of a lick, and fair play to him.
He's in the Piri Wipu mould, isn't he, Stromholm?
Yeah, he's on the shorter and wider side.
And you've played a fair bit of rugby with it, London Welsh, and off go Clermont. And it's taken forward by Jedra Sayek, captain of the French junior side a couple of years ago, and a man with a great future at Clermont. They rate him highly. No Jimmy Cudmore this week, who's been rested after his exertions at Twickenham in the Champions Cup final.
It's really the difference, isn't it, between the real top quality at the top of the top 14. It's the depth in the squad, the fact that Clermont can rest 9 players and still be ultra competitive. That's where we really see the difference now moving forward.
And Clermont come in from the side there. Another penalty to Grenoble. Grenoble after 23 rounds, 110, lost 13. Clermont won 13, drawn 1, lost 9. But Clermont and Grenoble have lost their last 3 top 14 matches. And of course, add into that mix Clermont's defeat in the Champions Cup final to Toulon as well. So how much confidence will there be rippling through both sides? Hamahina, massive man in the second row for Clermont.
I think that's the key, isn't it, for Clermont moving forward into this really important part of the season. That they've just got to park that European Champions Cup defeat now. They've got to move on, otherwise they're going to find themselves in that barrage game, and that's not really where they want to be. Radasevic, Cami Lopez, and now Wesley Fofana, and that's a good tackle by Jackson Willison. Fofana looking to glide through the defence. And it's Alexandre who takes it for Grenoble. And a mistake by Clermont there, and pounced upon by Alexandre.
Here is Arnaud Hegui. Can he do the right thing here? The hooker takes it into contact. John Alunha makes the tackle. Now McLeod. And here is Benjamin Thierry. And surely there's a foot in touch here on the near side. And there is Camille Lopez looking to take it quickly for Clermont. So again, it looks like they're trying to keep the tempo high here. Radasevic, that box kick yet again. Oh, and Benjamin Thierry hit really hard there. And I think Clement Rick might have stunned himself there making that tackle. There is Camille Lopez. Getting himself into a little bit of a cul-de-sac there, but managing to find turf with his clearing kick.
Just look at that kick chase though. Everyone's in a line, everyone's busting a gut to catch up with their inside and outside defenders. Being Gio Apple, nothing to do apart from just knock it back off the field. Just lost a bit of shape there, didn't they? They had four forwards in the midfield, lacking a bit of communication and direction, allowing Grenoble to catch that on the intercept and turn it into attack.
Benjamin Thierry, French international, just putting a foot in touch there. Alunha, Jedra Sayak. Clean line out ball this time for Clermont. And the maul is pulled down. Grenoble penalty to Clermont. Grenoble lost to Bayonne, shipping over 40 points 2 weeks ago. Toulon here 35-24, and Castres here 16-12. Those three defeats for Grenoble. In that Castres game, not only did Grenoble hit the post four times, they were also held up over the Castres line 4 times. So a game that looked almost impossible to lose, Grenoble managed to lose.
The English-speaking lads just needing a bit of a translation from the ref about what the penalty was about.
Again, very scruffy line-out ball. And it's Rory Grice who takes it for Grenoble. Here's Abendinen. Such a dangerous runner, isn't he, Nick Abendinen? And he shows it again there. He's made over 1,000 metres in the top 14 this season. Tried the offload there on contact, and maybe should have held on to the ball a little bit longer there, Yato, because it's been knocked forward.
Just that little bit of patience, isn't it, in the middle of the field. No real need to go for the offload there, just go through the floor. You've got your support runners. Even the offload, if he had offloaded it, he's not going to go very far. In terms of making an extra metre or two, you might as well go through the floor and play the same way and keep working those Grenoble forwards, making them really work hard to get into that defensive line.
Sebastian Vahamahina it was who attempted that offload there, the man from New Caledonia, as is Picheli Yato. So 2 New Caledonians in this Clermont team. Clermont's 3 successive league defeats have been last time out at Castres 31-10. They were saving men for the Champions Cup final in that game. At home to Oyonnax when they saved keynote players for the Champions Cup semi against Saracens. And the 3rd loss is against Stade Francais. Could be key in the run-in. Grenoble have 2 games at home here at the Stade des Alpes, whereas many of the other rivals for relegation have 2 games away from home in the run-in.
Not exactly what you want, is it? Bayonne especially look to be in real trouble now down the bottom.
Flexion.
Yeah, Bayonne on 47 points after 24 games. Lyon after that draw today on 37 after 24. Lyon, you feel are pretty much doomed now, despite picking up 2 points today.
On reste 7.
Ball just about staying in play there. So good ground gain from the home side. Jackson Willison with the kick.
Great kick to perfection. He meant to land it there, didn't he?
On the line.
That's exactly what they need to do. You know, just put the pressure on Clermont, make them play. There's no real need to be playing too far out from the Clermont 22, giving them options to turn the ball over, make them work really hard to make the scores that they need to put on the board.
See if we can get this line out to function. Clermont. Alunja finds Jed Rasayak. This is Yato. Milicevic. Yet again, it's that box kick.
Yet again, it's a great chase. Rougerie this time, but the midfield were right there with him.
Ball well protected by Grenoble. That's Arnaud Egui, hit by his opposite number, John Alunja. Not rolling away and sprinting away quickly is Charles McLeod. He says Clermont were not 10. And the referee says play on. It looked very clearly as if Clermont weren't 10 there as Benjamin Thierry finds Wisniewski and now Barcella. And Barcella has knocked the ball on in contact there. Was it stripped? Here it is, Damien Chouli. Grenoble, they got their hands on the ball here and turned it over. They have. Arnaud Egui is in the middle of all that. McLeod for Barcella. Barcella has really suffered with Achilles injuries in recent years. 2 serious ruptures, the former Biarritz player. Here is Abendinen once more. Tries to wriggle and squirm his body into the right direction. Camille Lopez, and he sees a little gap here and he's lost the ball and Fofana has to recover for Clermont.
Suspiciously like that would have gone forward, but play on.
It's Peter Kimlin. Twice capped by Australia. He captained the Brumbies when they beat the British and Irish Lions in 2013. It's Mignot to McLeod. That's Ben Hand, and now Charles McLeod to Jonathan Wisniewski. A little bit in behind Gio Aplon there. Had to stop and stretch. Wisniewski once more in the middle of the park, shapes the kick. And Benjamin Thierry competes in the air, and there's been a knock forward.
We're only 20 minutes in and there's holes all over the place. There's real intent from both teams to play. Grenoble clearly thinking that, you know, if they can get this win tonight at home against Clermont, that will take them slightly further away from the scrap that relegation sees on the top 14.
Camille Lopez the step there, but Jonathan Wisniewski, I think they just got a hand on the ball or a hand on Lopez's arm and forced him into the error. Yet again, Clermont looking to attack from well inside their own territory.
It's arguable that that's the best area to attack from, just because Grenoble probably have 3 at the back, maybe even 4 sometimes. They'll be short of a winger, but perhaps there's more space to actually move the ball, especially when there's so many turnovers going on at the moment.
Clermont, those 3 defeats in a row I mentioned, they haven't lost 4 in a row in the top 14 since the 2005-2006 season. Clermont finished their top 14 campaign at home to Toulon, that game live on Sky, then away to Montpellier. Some very impressive work in there at scrum time by Clermont. Rolling Grenoble backwards pretty comfortably. Benjamin Thierry outside his 22 though, so launches it down the spine of this football pitch. Here was Abendinen contesting in the air with Gengenbacher. And the referee says it's a penalty against Clermont for that challenge on the man from Albertville who's been here for 9 seasons, a real Grenoble stalwart, is the fullback.
It's a tough call, I think, that. I think Mika Bendinen was what? It's an equal challenge there. It's a very controversial area, isn't it, that we're seeing a lot of issues with in terms of how it's refereed, but you know, perhaps he was saying that Nick perhaps caught him in the air and threw him to the ground.
He's talking about Grenoble working on their defence this week, and just looking at the statistics from last week's Champions Cup final, Clermont missed 31 tackles against your old boys.
Yeah, and that sort of number is, you know, defensive coaches will always try to get single figures, really, or 90-92% tackle completion rate. So no doubt Clermont would have been, I guess, put through the mill a bit in training this week, and certainly maybe a few video nasties, but 31 is a hell of a lot of tackles, especially when you think of the style that Toulon play in. They're not exactly open and free-flowing like we see from Clermont. So, you know, you let sides like that into the game with missed tackles, and you're really under pressure.
We saw a nice little montage there of some big hits from Clermont, which suggests that they might have done some work in that area in the last 7 days.
I think that's one of those things as a rugby player. You know, if there's so many missed tackles, you're just thinking, oh no, Monday morning is going to be horrendous.
Especially with people like Frank Azema and John O'Gibbs on your case. Now this is the maul that worked so well against Bayonne. 2 tries came through this method, despite the very heavy defeat down in the Bay of Biscay. Domingo was pulled out of the maul by the throat, and off goes Eggy. Sets it for McLeod. And again, not for the first time in the game, Clermont come in from the side. So at last, a little bit of pressure on this Clermont defence from this Grenoble pack.
That's exactly the way to attack them. If you're struggling to move the ball in an open game, you know, your shapes don't really allow you to get into the game, then just tighten it up. If you get something like that set up, it's so hard to stop, especially when you've got a bit of momentum.
Well, Clermont started the season very well away from home. They won their first 3 away from the Stade Marcel Michelin, but they now have not won on the road since beating Oyonnax in September, and that's going to have to improve if Clermont are going to find themselves in a top 2 place in this top 14.
Grice might be quite lucky there to get away with that if he does, and then he followed up with a flying leap on a ruck that clearly didn't stay on his feet for, so the ref missed a couple of misdemeanors there, but Grenoble slowly clawing their way back into this game.
Arnaud Eggy is the injured player, won the European Challenge Cup in his time at Biarritz when they beat Toulon in the final in 2012. And Clermont have never been lower than 4th this season. They've held top spot in the top 14 8 times. Grenoble, well, they've dropped from 5th to 11th over the space of the last 8 rounds, and that seems to be characteristic of what happens to them every season, Grenoble.
Yeah, and you speak to guys like Dan Brown and Ollie Barkley, who've both played at Grenoble. There's no real explanation of really why that happens, but it happens season after season. And you know, we were speaking before we went on air. Perhaps they're batting slightly above average in terms of where they're starting their season. And when you look at the depth of the squad, do they have the capability to keep playing and keep the same intent with the way they play through those injury-ridden periods?
Well, we certainly have plenty of replays of the incident involving Rory Grice and Thomas Domingo there. Arnaud Eggy seems to have recovered, and let's have another look at it, shall we? Domingo was just hauled by the throat, by the neck, by Grice out of that contact zone.
Bruno, j'ai une décision.
And it's pretty brutal from the Grenoble number 8. So what will Romain Poit's decision be? He certainly wants a word with
Capitaine.
Rory Grice, the New Zealander who won the World Juniors 5 years ago with New Zealand, the country of his birth.
Ce joueur saisit clairement la tête du 1 pour l'arracher du môle, c'est du jeu déloyal. Une simple pénalité, je retourne la pénalité pour ce geste-là.
He's pinged him for exactly that. Turn the penalty over.
Vous avez quelque chose à dire? Merci.
I think it was inevitable though. I mean, it was foul play.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. And Fabien Alexandre just being asked if he's got anything to say on the subject. Must have said something.
Well, he hasn't recovered because the replacement hooker is on. Laurent Boucher, top try scorer this season for Grenoble in the Challenge Cup with 5 tries, which isn't a bad return for a hooker.
I bet he lets every single one of his teammates know that as well.
Well, he started out as a winger, so he's got pace.
It's a great conversion though, isn't it, from wing to hooker?
It is, yeah. Off goes Yato into the heart of that Grenoble pack. And there's the ball for Radasevic. Clermont not protecting it that well for their scrum half, and yet again it's the box kick, and it's Charles McLeod. Did he keep that ball in play, or was there the foot in touch? Here's Benjamin Thierry. Yeah, I think there was a foot in touch.
Great spot.
Problem is these days they give themselves away, Tom, because they all wear these shiny boots, and they're like neon lights.
And the white boots must be the safest option, or the green boots.
Henry Slade was wearing a pair for Exeter a couple of weeks ago that could only have been described as rhubarb and custard colour.
I think when you get to my age, you have to stick with a simple white or black.
Pair of old flankers, that's what you need, with the steel toe caps.
The old mitre dragons.
Back in my day.
Toe caps, that's what they used to have. My dad used to say, oh, surely it'd be much better to kick with.
With an extra stud on the front for a bit of a legal rocking. Great burst from the line out from Grenoble. And here is Rory Grice. He's the top carrier for Grenoble this season. Charles McLeod to Wisniewski and Willison. And get a little bit mixed up in midfield with Mignot. Can Clermont take advantage here? Back there is Gio Aplan. The ball is rolling his way, end over end, into the in-goal area. And he touches it down. Gio Aplan, 17 caps for South Africa, 5 tries for his country. And there is Frank Azema, the frustrated Clermont coach at Twickenham. A second final defeat at the top table for Clermont Auvergne.
Je veux bien avoir une discussion avec vous, mais à aucun joueur. Maintenant, c'est pénalité carton jaune, ça fait 4 fois, ça devient...
Saying that the next person to talk out of turn will find themselves with a 10-minute rest.
This is where I rely on you for all the French translation.
Oh, this is where I get it wrong, isn't it?
And that's why we booked you for this show.
Just forcing a bit there, Grenoble. Clermont always come with a bit of line speed, so forcing that extra pass, just putting handling skills under real pressure.
McLeod. A little bit more depth on that kick. It's Cami Lopez for Abendinen. Abendinen 3 times man of the match in the Champions Cup run to the final. The European Player of the Year. Bardi goes in to assist. Here's Radosavljevic. And now Nakatathi. Nakatathi, who gave away that critical penalty in the Champions Cup final, converted by Lee Halfpenny when he threw the ball away when he was in touch. Needs to improve that discipline. Nakatathi, great prospect, already capped by France, try scorer at Twickenham for his country against England. And almost away, and Jedra Sayak now in possession. Here come Clermont, the offload to Nakatathi with all the pace you need to get to the corner. And Clermont have scored their second try, and they exploded from deep in classic Clermont style.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And we talk about the turnovers and how you try and force things. You let these guys get hold of the ball. It actually came from a missed pass. A defender bit out the line. You have to stay in line. Tackle your guy ahead of you. Don't try and go for the ball, because you leave these guys extra bits of space. And the likes of Nakatachi will finish that off all day. Missed tackle in the middle. You don't let Yato get away. Talked about his athleticism already, and that's a fantastic offload from Jedraziak. Give the ball early to the likes of Noah Nakatachi. Let them have a run, and we can see what they do.
Well, if Clermont can win here tonight, it'll take them up to 66 points, level with Toulouse, 4 points behind Toulon with 2 rounds to go. And Cami Lopez with the conversion attempt. The first effort of the game was Radosavljevic, who did manage to get the ball between the sticks, but on this occasion they dropped back to Lopez.
Fabien Zandre just in the midfield, who missed that tackle, just ruining his missed opportunity there to really cream someone in defence.
They're also at that team warning, Grenoble, for too much back chat to the referee Romain Poit. Radosavljevic, Damien Chuli, former Perpignan man, won the top 14 at Perpignan at the Stade Aimé Giral. Perpignan now in the Pro D2, one of the relegated sides, with Biarritz Po coming up next season with the backing of the Total petrochemical giants.
We talked about their kick chase. Clermont have just knocked that ball 60-70 metres. Domingo and Jedraziak right up there, working really hard, a prop and a second row. That's fantastic work rate and a real desire to put their back three of Grenoble under pressure, give them only one option.
Well, it seems to have worked, the approach this week from Frank Azema, being fierce with his squad, not allowing them to dwell on what happened at Twickenham, not allowing them to sulk, and they seem to have come out here well tooled up.
Yeah, and I think it's a really clever ploy when you have the tools to rest 9 players, then do it, because you know that the likes of Yato that's come in, they're going to be fresh, they're going to be chomping at the bit. Everyone's disappointed about that Champions Cup result, but now give someone else an opportunity to take it on, take it forward in the top 14.
Julien Bardi takes it on here for Legionnaires. Lopez launches another high ball. Rougerie is chasing this one. Aplon just getting in the way. Rougerie almost pouncing. Taken by Gengenbacher. And Charles McLeod tries to explore that narrow blindside channel.
Derrière, jaune, derrière.
Gengenbacher plays scrum half.
On est à l'intérieur, plaquage à l'intérieur. Plaquage à l'intérieur. Jouez le ballon.
McLeod gets himself back into position there. Aurélien Rougerie, what a servant he has been to this club. His mother was the mayor, his father played for Montferrand as they were then, back in the 70s.
Seems like he's been around for yonks, doesn't he? Playing at the highest level. Probably feels quite hard done by, I think, this season. Spent a fair amount of time on the bench, which he's not quite used to.
Well, he's lost his place in midfield, hasn't he, to Jonathan Davis, the 13 shirt. Davis playing in that spot in the final. And there is Julien Bonner. He's off to Pau next season. 36 years of age, Julien Bonner, so he'll bring plenty of experience to the newly promoted side.
They've recruited strongly, haven't they, as well? Conrad Smith, Colin Slade.
Conrad Smith, the snake, what a wonderful player, the All Black. Spending the total billions wisely. Radosavljevic to Lopez. Here is a Benvenuto. 2 defenders closing him down. Willison and Mignon. Radosavljevic having to dig the ball out there. Here's Damien Chuli, and now Lopez, great little ball to Wesley Fofana. Oh, Fofana's away here. He will ghost and he will glide all the way to the try line. And Clermont-Auvergne have come here to the Stade des Alpes to fight hard.
Absolutely brilliant. do not leave Fofana with
Bruno, j'ai pas
any
d'idée
sort
sur
of
le
space
toucher
to
à terre.
exploit,
Essaie
because he
oui
has
ou
the
non, s'il
pace
te
and
plaît.
the power
Je le vois
to
pas.
really punish you, and he's done exactly that there. And for me, that's a brilliant finish. One of those inside centres that can ball play. He can attack holes with
Oui, j'ai une
power. He can
décision pour moi,
exploit
laissez
the
valable.
outside of defenders with
Très bien,
real
merci.
explosive pace.
Reprise du temps.
And Clermont are flying.
Another one of those men with yellow running through his veins. His 8th year at Clermont, Wesley Fofana. He scored plenty of important tries during the Champions Cup, 4 in total, but will there be any more important than that one? Clermont so desperate to get a home semi-final at the Stade Marcel Michelin in the top 14.
And we talked about Grenoble having spent so much time on their defence, really working hard. They're so eager to put big hits in on these Clermont players that they're flying out of the line. And when you fly out of a line, you leave a dog leg, and you leave yourself exposed to the real intelligence of players like Fofana.
Non.
Not a Savlovic looking to go quickly there. Yeah, and Grenoble have conceded now 65 tries in the top 14 this season. They have the worst defence in the league.
Which shows you that they're doing something right in attack, because they're not at the bottom.
Always the positive view. There's Bernard Jackman looking pretty abject there in the coaching box here at Grenoble.
Please calm down. Keep your head.
Rory Grice, can they find a way back into this game before half-time? They've got 6 minutes to respond. Clermont-Auvergne completely in control of this match at the moment. Henrik Root, he's been strong in carrying for Grenoble tonight. Jonathan Wisniewski. Xavier Mignot, bulky centre, over 16 stones. Wisniewski was put under pressure there, so he had to release the ball quickly and rather sloppily. Wisniewski yet again, and here is that pacey Boucher, the former winger, showing that he has got acceleration. Charles McLeod, Wisniewski, now Root. McLeod trying to keep the ball more on hand now, Grenoble. An emphasis on the kicking game in the early stages of this match, but they know they've got to start scoring tries. Lovely hands from Boucher, and now here's Benjamin Thierry. In comes Boucher to assist and clear out. Now McLeod to the out half, Wisniewski. Edwards gets it on to hand, and now Willison. Great rugby from Grenoble. And Alexandre was in the line, but again Clermont just managed to put enough pressure on defensively to force the mistake.
So frustrating after some real brilliant attack, keeping hold of the ball. Alexandre just tried to force that pass away under real pressure, probably got himself too flat, to be honest. But just keep hold of the ball. You've worked so hard to get that far up the field. You know, go 1 or 2 more phases and you might just walk in down that touchline.
Xavier Mignot looks to be struggling here. Might be replaced by Chris Farrell if he's injured.
That's a great ball from a prop as well, and a fantastic offload to follow.
There was Dana Edwards in the line there, very tight head. He played Super Rugby for the Reds. This is where we may see the Mignot injury. Yeah, took a real clatter there and immediately reached for his ankle, so in trouble. And the obvious replacement here is the Ulsterman Chris Farrell, who's just signed a new 2-year deal at Grenoble.
Give credit where it's due. Aurélien Rougerie just on that touchline to shut that attack down. Spotted Fabien Alexandre and just flew in. You know, if you put a forward under pressure, with all due respect to forwards, that, you know, the handling skills might not be up to scratch, and he made his decision and he completed it brilliantly.
Lunia. The line out has been less than crisp and precise from Clermont in this first half, but they've got away with it there. Trying to counter ruck or Grenoble, trying to protect the ball, or Clermont, and it's all become a bit of a mess, and Grenoble have done the job they went in there to do.
They could come away with something here, Grenoble, at the end of the first half. Get themselves back in the game. That was just the boost they want before half-time.
Grenoble are at home next week against rampant Toulouse, who are in a tremendous vein of form at the moment, racking up win after win. Stade Toulousain. So that'll be tough too. Need to find a way back into this match before the half-time whistle. 3.5 minutes to go. Here's McLeod. Now Chris Farrell, 6'4" and almost 17 stones. That's Boucher again. He does have tremendous acceleration, the replacement hooker. And here is Benjamin Thierry, and again they're up hard and fast in defence. It was Nico Bendren there. This time his turn to put the pressure on this Grenoble attacking formation. Now Ben Hand. Charles McLeod. Alexandre. Helped by Boucher. Closing in on that Clermont line. Here's McLeod. Now it's Root. Clermont Rick makes the tackle. Now Charles McLeod. And here is Rory Grice. You feel to give themselves a chance in the second half. They really have to score here. Charles McLeod goes himself. And the ball is slowed down by Clermont, and it's slowed down illegally. And off goes Henrik Root for the line. And is he driven over the South African? Romain Poit has a very close look, and he's going to need some assistance here from Bruno Besso, the TMO.
I reckon they've scored here. I think at the very last minute, just as the players started to get back onto their feet, the ball was just slid back infield.
Oh, he's just short there, is he? Is he just short there, Henrik Root? Try yes or no. The forearm is short, the ball looks short there, and then Clermont get their hands in around the ball. How wide is the white line?
This is where we use the white on the side of the ball to just make it slightly wider, is it?
This is where we need blimp cam. Something from above would be useful, an aerial shot, to see if any part of that ball has touched the white line.
Great desire from Clermont to keep them out, and Grenoble will be really disappointed if this isn't awarded. They're going to get the penalty, but the try is not awarded.
No, he was short. But Clermont were lawbreakers in there, so they do have the penalty. Closing in the final 2 minutes of this half. And Jonathan Wisniewski gets the instruction to go for the corner. And remember how strong this Grenoble maul has been this season, and notably against Bayonne. It's been a real strength. The nuts and bolts of this Grenoble side have been exceptional at times this season, and this is one of those nuts and bolts moments.
This is exactly the reason that forwards spend hours and hours mauling, doing their line-outs for moments like this.
Taken by Kimlin. Can they get the body shapes right here? It's Boucher who's in possession. Root is taken out illegally by Shuley. And here come the backs to aid the forwards. It's another penalty for Grenoble, so they have the advantage. Charles McLeod, they have the free play. McLeod goes sniping again. The backs will have to reorganise themselves very quickly here, because they were all in that maul, or at least most of them were. Another chance to pick and go around the edges here for Henrik Root. And this time without doubt, Grenoble power over the line and do get their try right on the stroke of half time. And it was the former South African schoolboy who almost got there a minute ago who does it on this occasion.
Fully repaid for all that hard work they put in during the weeks with Bernard Jackman. That's exactly what he would want to see. It was a great setup from the start. And then it was just about work rate, desire, body height, and a real motivation to get over the line, because Clermont weren't making that easy at all.
Dédé, le temps, s'il te plaît, on n'a pas le temps du coup de pied affiché.
Well, they stayed patient here, did Grenoble. Charles McLeod just keeping the fringe defenders nice and honest there. And it was Barcella who was involved. And finally, Andrik Root. And he was helped by a couple of his chums to power over the line. Final act of this first half is the conversion attempt. And the gap is closed even closer by Jonathan Wisniewski. 4 tries in that first half. And Clermont-Auvergne it is who take the lead into the break, 22 points to 10.
Oui, aux côtés de Fabien Gégen-Bachir, il fait du bien cet essai, hein. Beaucoup de débauche d'énergie et ça paye quand même juste avant la mi-temps, c'est bien pour Grenoble.
Ouais, il faut pas lâcher, je pense que le score est un peu lourd, on rate 3 plaquages, il marque 3 fois. Mais on y met de l'envie, on a 40 minutes pour faire un exploit. 12 points, c'est pas une montagne, donc allez, on va tout donner.
Merci.
Grenoble trailing by 22 points to 10 at half-time to Clermont, led out by their skipper Damien Chouli. Grenoble facing a 4th consecutive defeat and the possible burning fires of relegation hell in the run-in. Tom Mays alongside me, the former Toulon centre. And Tom, you've picked out a couple of work-ons from the first half.
Yeah, I think the amount of work that Grenoble would have done in their defence, I think the coaches will be fairly disappointed with the line integrity that we always talk about. There's people flying out on the line. The enthusiasm to make big hits is fantastic, but you have to maintain that line in defence. Otherwise you create dog legs, which the likes of Fofana and Nakatachi can expose. I also think that they're committing so many people to the breakdown, whether that be in attack and defence, that they're losing numbers. So they're running out, they're having to become a very one-dimensional team in attack, but also they're leaving so much space for the defenders that are on their feet to cover, but there's too much work for them ultimately to do. So I think that the defensive points that they'll be trying to work on this half will be keeping that line, and also just reduce the numbers that go to the breakdown.
Camille Lopez to get Clermont underway in this second half. Clermont will know that Toulouse won earlier on today, scoring 9 tries to 1 against Brive in a huge 67 points to 19 victory. Toulouse their 5th win in a row, so really making their presence felt at the top of the top 14. Remember, the top 2 sides go straight through to the semi-finals at home, and at the moment Clermont are in 3rd. Here is Yato, so they need this victory tonight. They've got 3 tries in the first half. Grenoble responding very close to the half-time whistle with a try of their own. Damien Chouli looking for one of those try scorers for the men for the Massy Central in that first half, Nakatafi, but he holds on at the breakdown and then holds his head.
Great turnover from Alexandre. He's been a real pain in the backside over the ball in the first half, and he'll continue to do that, no doubt. He's a true 7 in the old school fashion, as it were. Look how quickly he gets over the ball here, in a fantastic body position. No one can move him.
Good jackling by Alexandre, who came through the Clermont Academy. So next, Legionnaire, Alexandre, classic open side for Grenoble. Top tackler against Bayonne was Alexandre with 10, and that's 6 tries to 1 defeat. Charles McLeod. Chris Farrell bridges over the ball off the bench for Xavier Mignot. Towards the end of that first half, the centre injured, Rory Grice carries on. Springbok again. McAtaffy is underneath this one and takes it well. Showed real pace to score that second try of the first half for Clermont. You certainly cannot give the Clermont left winger any space on the outside, but they've managed to turn the ball over here again. So some good work at the breakdown at the start of this second half from the home team.
Grice and Alexandre really on the ball there. As soon as the referee calls maul, they can kill that. They can fall down and just, they don't have to roll away. Good knowledge of the rules, good understanding of the numbers at the maul.
Well, Grenoble have recorded some strong home displays here, notably against Racing, Bordeaux and La Rochelle. They won their first 6 home games in the top 14 this season. Then they lost to Stade Francais in December, and their last home win was against Montpellier by 2 points, but that was back in February. And since then they have tumbled down the top 14 table into a precarious position close to the bottom, and they really are in a relegation scrap now.
The pressure on those teams down there must be immense. In terms of the likes of Brive, Bayonne, La Rochelle, Bordeaux, Grenoble, they're all within touching distance of the drop, so huge games to come over the next couple of weeks.
Monstrous game next week. The Stade Pierre-Antoine Castres against Brive. Castres on 47 points, Brive on 48, same number of points as Grenoble. Bayonne on 47 points. Lyon, they look to have gone now, 37 points for Lyon. Here's McLeod, Wisniewski and Jackson Willison, and just caught round the ankles by Camille Lopez. Important tackle by the Clermont out half. Charles McLeod looks inside for the support from Barcella. McLeod again, plenty of fumbles there. It was Dana Edwards who lost the ball, and the referee just playing a quick advantage there. Aurélien Rougeré playing a little bit of bluff there with Gengenbacher.
Always play to the whistle. I'd be disappointed turning the ball over there. Well, Grenoble, they've had a good start to the second half. They'll be looking to build on the last few minutes that they had in the first half. Really take the game to Clermont, put them under pressure, make sure that they've got to play this game out.
Grenoble at home next week to Toulouse. Remember those 5 wins in a row now for Guy Novez's men after a very poor start to the season when Guy Novez's position looked to be uncertain. And now he's being touted as the next France coach after Philippe Saint-André. Fickle of the French, you know. Good scrummage by Clermont. Control by Yato. The penalty was pretty much inevitable there. And a chance for Clermont to clear. Vincent Debatty, who started the Champions Cup final at Twickenham a week ago, being rested for this one.
Not bad when you can leave someone like that out, is it?
Well, it shows the strength of this Clermont squad. Thomas Domingo, a mighty fine scrummager, tremendous in the loose, as he demonstrated with that try early on for Clermont in this game. Fabien Barcella, who's really tightened up the scrummage for Grenoble in recent months. One of the players under pressure there.
huge amount of power coming through there, wasn't there? Kaiser, a real strong scrummager at hooker.
And Benjamin Kaiser on for Alunja. Here is Yato, inside ball for Rougerie. Nada Savlovic for Hamahina coming round the corner. Well over 20 stones. Peter Kimlin couldn't stop him. Now Julian Bardi, 24 caps for Portugal.
So offside in midfield, it was unbelievable.
Yato keeps the ball available. Brilliant offload from the Fijian. Benjamin Kaiser has now played in 4 losing Champions Cup finals. Would you believe the Clermont hooker? A little fumble there. And the scrummage will go Grenoble's way. Yeah, Benjamin Kaiser, who has played for Leicester, Stade Francais, and now twice for Clermont in losing Heineken Cup and Champions Cup finals. When will his luck change, eh?
Not really something he wants to think about too much, I wouldn't have thought. Yato, an incredible athlete. Started his rugby, I believe, on the wing. That offload is an unbelievable skill. Left the ball on a plate for Kaiser. Under pressure from 2 defenders.
Got a couple of decent number 8s. Clermont, Yato and Fritz Lee. One of the top players in the Champions Cup, but Yato may have picked up a groin twinge there by the looks of things. Seems to be fit enough to continue.
This pumping is fine. Bardi.
7 tries in the top 14 for Yato. Despite not getting that many starts, battling for that shirt with Fritz Lee. So he's been productive. And we saw his offloading skills in that previous passage. Not sure about Thomas Domingo's facial hair. Could do better.
On the beard front. Slightly tufty, isn't it?
It's too fluffy for me.
Yeah.
Especially for a prop. Needs to look tougher.
He seems to have like a pretty sharp hairdo, and you're not sure that he'd be. I think he'd be pretty disappointed with his effort on a beard.
You'll see a proper 6 o'clock shadow if Zirikashvili comes off the bench. He has to shave 7 times a day, apparently. And penalty scrum time this time goes to Grenoble. It's a binding issue for Clermont, so 1 scrum penalty to the men in yellow, 1 now to the men in blue. John O'Gibbs looks on, one of the coaching staff that helped lead Leinster to multiple Heineken Cup victories.
Six and 2 threes, isn't it, at the set piece? Incredible. I can never quite understand how we've seen the scrum, the power that Clermont can get through. There's so much technique that goes on there. Obviously, I haven't spent a huge amount of time in the front row, but it's a real sort of, you get it slightly wrong and you're completely on the back foot.
3 line-out throws going against the throw in this game so far. Wisniewski to Chris Farrell. 6'5", 16 stones and 7 pounds. The Ulster-born centre, and Gegenbacher running a great line and finding a hole in that Clermont defence. Here's Chris Farrell again, described by Bernard Jackman as the Irish Yannick Youzion.
Some likeness.
Yeah, if they can live up to that, it'll be some player. Jackman reckons he'll be an Irish international of the future. Farrell, he missed a couple of seasons virtually through injury. Here's Rory Grice showing that carrying strength that he's demonstrated all season, and now Andrik Roop showing the carrying strength that led to the try at the end of that first half. Now Alexandre. Where's the ball for McLeod? And Clermont down a man here. Here is Wisniewski, and now Gegenbacher pumping their way towards this Clermont line through Boucher. Now Alexandre, a floppy-haired flanker, and there is the white line. That is the target. And they're going through the big forwards again. That's how they scored their try in the first half. Here's Grice. Thierry goes in, but it's McLeod who gets it to Peter Kivlin. Oh, and he's knocked the ball forward there. Yato is in. Playing the advantage, and Shuli checks on the options, and you never know. Benderin might go from here. He's inclined to. Fofana, Nakatathi, and the race is on here if Nakatathi can keep the ball in play. Oh, he almost did there. Oh, that could have bounced any which way for the Fijian.
So frustrating for the Grenoble coaches. They've worked so hard. They've done some brilliant work, working in 2s and 3s, just picking and going, going through the middle, the real tight areas. Made some fantastic ground, moved the ball once and turn it over. That for Bernard Jackman, but if he had any hair, he'd be pulling it out. It's so frustrating. And then the ball's now 60 metres behind where they were. Fantastic kick back from Nakatachi.
Bernard Jackman will be polishing his head in frustration.
Is that the next step up from pulling it out, is it? That's where you go.
When it's all gone, you've no choice. There it is, the man who shaved 7 times before breakfast. Zirikashvili, the massive Georgian.
The fact that he's on with Domingo is going to expose his beard even more, isn't it?
Yes. A fluffy-chinned Domingo. He is ferocious looking, isn't he, Zirikashvili? 48 caps for Georgia. Starting tight head last week at Twickenham. Taken by Ben Hand. The 33-year-old, been around a bit, played for the Waratahs and the Brumbies and Calvisano. Here's the maul again, working as it did 2 weeks ago in the defeat against Bayonne. And Clermont trying to get in there to negate that drive. McLeod. And he's managed to catch his own kick, but the ball is out of play. And he's not happy. Frustration in that hand clap from the Springbok. And 3 replacements coming on for Grenoble. The wonderfully named Albertus Buckle is one of them.
Sounds like he should be in some sort of cartoon or something.
So Richard Suara is on as well, the other prop forward on the bench. And Flonia Faure, another very experienced player, the 32-year-old Francais international. And Julien Bonner is on too for Yato. So maybe he was carrying a little bit of a groin twinge there. And again, a decent replacement from the bench, Tom.
Yeah, it's not what you want to see if you're a Grenoble player, is it? Yato goes off and on they bring Bonner. No real loss in quality. Arguably goes up.
James Hart is on too, another Irishman. Quite a few Irishmen at the Grenoble club, and not just in the coaching staff, but on the playing roster as well. Now Julien Bonner off to Pau next season, seeing out his really impressive Clermont Auvergne career. Here's Nakatathi, Radosavljevic. Kaiser makes those crucial couple of metres. And lovely line for Benderin. Oh, that is classic. Nico Benderin. He has been ripping defences apart all season long, and you can see right there why he is the European Player of the Year.
This is just absolute class. Classic fullback play from Nico Benderin. The lines you pick are so key to how a fullback plays. It's brilliant for Fofana. Sucked one defender in. And then to finish like that looked easy, didn't it, from Nico Benderin? And that's why there's so much pressure on Stuart Lancaster to pick both himself and Stefan Armitage. And there's a huge argument that he keeps on increasing each week.
Softly footsteps from Nico Benderin. And very much like Fofana in the first half, that ability just to glide away from defenders.
It's a late change of angle, isn't it, that, you know, it offsets the defender. And if you can do that without losing too much speed, then you've got a real art.
Tony Lopez, well, he should really have converted that try. And that, as it stands, is the bonus point try for Clermont in the top 14. You need to score 3 tries more than the opposition to pick up the extra silver. Mahamahina is off now for Clermont, which means that Loic Jacquet is a likely replacement. Hendrik Root, scorer of Grenoble's try, is off. By the looks of things, seemed to be making his way to the touchline. Here's Julien Bonner. Real prince of back row forwards, Bonner. Camille Lopez.
Again, we see the line chase. Zuriakashvili as well as Domingo, right in the middle of it.
Yes, bearing forward like a huge wave of custard. All in harmony too, in unison.
I like that, that's brilliant.
So Wisniewski gets his hands free, now Chris Farrell and Hart. So the Irishmen working together there. Shaw, McLeod. This is Ross Skeet, former Baba. Played for Barbarians at Twickenham a few years back. McLeod for Wisniewski. Here's Gengenbacher. Ben Ham, Benjamin Kaiser, one of the tacklers there for Clermont. A little bit of a soak tackle this time by Clermont, just helping Grenoble to get onto the front foot here. In comes Stanley, he tries to seagull over the ball but failing to do so, and Skeet carries again for Grenoble. Charles McLeod, here is Benjamin Thierry. We've actually got 2 scrum halves on the pitch now, in McLeod and Hart. And here is Schwara, 19 stone, prop forward replacement. Gengenbacher on the ball to ground, and there's Nakatathi. Oh, if they'd let him get away there, he would have scooted under those posts for Clermont. Now Domingo, great power, great strength and acceleration from the loose head. And Clermont have switched on here. Now can they convert, can they deliver the fatal blow to this Grenoble side? At the moment they're already in a comfortable position. One more try might just finish off this Grenoble team, and Rougerie cannot quite get the bounce he needed.
Huge difference between these two teams is the intensity with which they attack the ball from turnover. As soon as Grenoble turn the ball over, Clermont are immediately on it, attacking with real power and pace, and you just think they're fingertips away from getting away and scoring underneath the sticks. That's a hell of a carry from Thomas Domingo. Low centre of gravity probably is the best way of describing it. But that's the difference between Grenoble move with one pass and then cart the ball up the middle. That's easy for Clermont to do, to defend against, sorry. But if you see how Clermont changed the game, they changed the point of attack, they moved the ball wide, they come short, really asking questions of the defence all the time.
And defensively, that is the 66th try now that Grenoble have conceded in the top 14, and only 2 teams have scored fewer tries than Grenoble. The worst defence after 23 rounds. The home side conceding 5 tries more than La Rochelle. And the defence has again been breached on multiple occasions tonight. Clermont have now scored 54 tries in the top 14, but they're well behind Toulon, who have scored 72 after their 24th round of games today against Castres, that victory. They didn't pick up the bonus point, Toulon. Shuli in possession. Benjamin Kaiser and Shuli Skeet come in from the side there, and on we go through Kaiser. And coming out with the ball in the middle of that driving wall from Grenoble was Albertus Buckle, and the penalty is given by Romain Poit. I think there were a couple of infringements in there from the Grenoble side. One compounded by another, and Lopez deciding to go for the post here, so they want to keep the pressure on the scoreboard, Clermont.
Yeah, I think also I just want to slow the game down a bit, get their breath back. You know, go from a restart and start this whole series of play. It's just got a bit scrappy from both teams. They know if they can get a good restart, they can build again.
And he's missed again, Cami Lopez. He's had a terrible day off the kicking tee. Remember, Radosavljevic took the first kick at goal and was successful. Only Lyon have a worse home record than Grenoble in the top 14. Grenoble 36 points from their 11 home games, 8 wins, 3 defeats. Looking likely to be a 4th defeat now at home for Grenoble this season. Of course, in the top 14, every home ground seems to be a fortress. It's very tough to win your away games in this league, Tom.
I think that was one of the main things that I learned when I went over to France is the desire and the focus on home games that teams are given by their coaching staff. There's no let up when they're at home. It's not a case of, oh, we'll rest them for next week, because even if there's a so-called weaker fixture the following week, they have to win at home in front of their paying public. That's their bread and butter. If they can nick wins away from home, then they'll do that and nick points. But if you don't win at home, you're under real pressure in the top 14.
The old esprit de clocher. The spirit of the time clock. Grenoble on the verge now here with the final quarter fast approaching, of losing 4 of the last 6 at home, which is not esprit de clocher. It isn't.
And that's where the fans start to get frustrated, and that pressure from the town actually starts to build on teams. And you notice in the way they play, you notice when they come under pressure, you can almost feel the crowd getting on top of them, getting frustrated, and that, you know, it's really difficult to play under those circumstances.
And Grenoble wheeling and twisting and spiralling and giving away another penalty at scrum time. So the new front row doesn't seem to have made a massive difference. Schwara and Albertus Buckle.
Gone for touch after the misses that we've seen from Lopez. Clermont so not only now is he missing goals, he's missed touch. Do we see him disappear shortly?
He's a nightmare. He might get the old shepherd's crook any moment now. Morgan Parra is on the bench, who has played out half, of course, you might remember, for France no fewer than 5 times in the last World Cup. So Mike Delaney, of course, would be the natural replacement at 10. I'm only teasing. Down goes Bardi, and I think there was a knock on there. There was, so there'll be a scrimmage to Grenoble. They had a rather painful missed touch last week, didn't they, at Twickenham in the last few minutes? They had a kick to the corner, Clermont. They missed that one too, with rather more dire consequences possibly than that one.
Yeah, and it's almost one of those. It's a kick that cannot be missed, isn't it? You know, it's a free shift up the field. If you can get 40-50 meters, you know, it's a free gift really at penalties. So if you start to miss it, and then, you know, you can tell when a fly half's under real pressure, and you're just starting to feel a bit for Lopez here that it's starting to crack around him. And if he loses his direction, then the whole of the Clermont side will lose his direction, because his confidence go out the window. But he's the one that's guiding the team around the field, putting them in the right places, putting the ball in the right places within their systems.
Got a Jackman there on the left of your screen. Frustrated figure. Because they really are now descending into that pit of despair at the bottom of the top 14 table.
And the home form doesn't help, does it?
Scrum under pressure again there, and did well to get out of it as quickly as they did through Rory Grice. Here's Skeet. Ross Skeet, Johannesburg born, played for Toulon in the Challenge Cup final 2010 when they lost to Cardiff at the Stade Velodrome in Marseille. Sean McLeod goes quickly, can't touch him until he's gone 10 metres. And a rather loose ball inside is gobbled up by Vahamahina. Showed good skill there. Big man had to lean his huge body weight over the ball. Showed good dexterity.
Great kick. Again, we see the chase. The bending at the 4.
There's 7 Clermont chasers there. Amazing. Wonderful intensity about that defensive work from the 2010 top 14 champions, Clermont-Auvergne. Here's Albertus Buckle. I just love saying his name. Hope he gets the ball a lot. Wisniewski. That's a decent clearing kick there from the Grenoble 10.
Kick chase is one of those things you don't need any skill for it. It just comes plainly down to work rate. How much you want to pressure the other team, how much you want to work for the guys around you. And you can see Clermont, they've done it all game, and they're priding themselves on the fact that they're going to put pressure on Grenoble's back 3. They're not going to allow them to get extra yards if they don't have to.
There's a great cheer there because the Grenoble fans saw the return of a great crowd favourite here, Jonathan Best, back after a shoulder dislocation he picked up pre-season in Argentina. Damiashvili, Radosavljevic fires the ball to Cami Lopez. Here is Fofana. Seen some absolutely sumptuous tries in this game so far from Fofana and Nico Bendinen, and the flag is up on the near side. Rougerie is in touch. Aurélien Rougerie, 76 caps for his country, now well into his 30s, very much in the veteran stage as Rougerie. I see Zach Guilford has returned home to New Zealand to try and deal with his personal demons.
Never quite hit his straps, did he, when he got to Clermont? No doubt. A fantastically talented player. Just needs to sort himself out off the field, and hopefully we'll get to see what he's capable of doing again.
Good line out take by Damiashvili. Julien Bonner breaks free. Can he find the supporting player, Radosavljevic? Almost. Here's Vahamahina. Rory Grice drives him back hard there. Good defensive work by Grice, and he's won the ball, and then it's knocked forward by Schwara, and they might have had an opportunity to go there because they had plenty of numbers in the wide spaces.
He's massive for them, isn't he, Grice? He's been a real thorn in Clermont's defence, whether he be carrying, hitting breakdowns, just strong, really stays on his feet well.
Well, he's carried the ball over 225 times for Grenoble this season. He's beaten 55 defenders before tonight's game. He's also one of the top offloaders in the team with 24 offloads after round 23. So yes, you're absolutely right. He is critical to this Grenoble campaign.
You get someone like that, you can get on the back of him, you know, use him to get the momentum in the game, and then get Wisniewski really flat at the line, attacking defenders. Having someone like that in your team is priceless.
And on comes Morgan Parra, replacing Ludovic Radosavljevic. Former top 14 player of the year, the intense figure of Morgan Parra. Some sort of Buddhist prayer ritual there. Radosavljevic and Jedrzejczyk, what they were doing.
What kids do nowadays.
Rapprochez-vous, droitier. Au milieu.
I bet he smashes a few electric razors, that
Flexion.
Radosavljevic. Is there a titanium blade strong enough to take the chin of the Georgian?
No doubt got some endorsement with a razor firm.
And another penalty at the scrum, and they really are beginning to dominate this facet. And this was one of the strengths of Grenoble in recent weeks, was their scrum after the arrival of Fabien Barcella. But at the moment, all they are enduring is pain.
Classic French expression, that, wasn't it? The blowing of the lips.
It's the only French I can speak. I can also do the shoulder shrug, and there's plenty of shoulder shrugging going on in that Grenoble camp at the moment. As we close in on the final 10 minutes, good performance from Frank Azema's men so far, away from home, remember, here at the Stade des Alpes, in front of 20,000. 170 miles we are from Clermont, so a decent travelling support has made the journey to southeast France from the Massif Central. And Morgan Parra takes over the kicking responsibilities and delivers straight away, something Camille Lopez really struggled to do. And there is that fanatical Clermont support. We saw them in decent numbers at Twickenham last week, and they're here in decent numbers again.
You wonder if that Grenoble pack are really starting to struggle now because of the way they've been moved around the field by the Clermont attack. Been put under real pressure defensively, and that will take its toll.
Lopez. Gengenbacher. Again, the defensive line is up quickly. Charles McLeod. Oh, another fumble by a prop forward, Albertus Buckle. Former South African amateur international. He knocks on here. And the frustrations just build and build for this Grenoble team.
Actually, a look of slight concern from the coaches there. They know how much pressure these lads are under.
Remember, Clermont have endured loads of pain in recent times, losing in the semis of the top 14 in 2013, going down to Castres a week after the heartache of their Heineken Cup final defeat. Last season, losing in the barrage at home to Castres again, 22-16. That ended their 77-match unbeaten run at the Marcel Michelin. You add in those two Champions Cup final defeats in recent times, and that is real heartache. And now Grenoble, somehow from somewhere, from the depths of despair, get the surge on at the scrum and the penalty.
Brilliant. You can hear the crowd appreciating their efforts. They know that it's difficult at the set piece for Grenoble. As we see a great kick for touch from Wisniewski.
Amazing statistic that Clermont have lost 22 finals across all competitions in their 100-year plus history. And Nick Abendinen, what a beautiful angle he took there, and then just drifting away from the defence. It was syrupy.
Love to know what that means. I think he does on his cheek.
So another fine performance from Nick Abendinen. And Mike Delaney comes on, as he did last week, and he semi-charged down. The hack by Delaney. Gengenbacher, good work from the Grenoble fullback, Gio Aplon. Came on in a slicing angle there, but didn't get the ball. Here's Benjamin Thierry, and now Boucher. Alexandre is in support. Boucher's looked good off the bench. You can see why he scored so many tries in the Challenge Cup. Now Florian Faure. Grenoble man is down injured. Charles McLeod. And that's Jonathan Best trying to work his way back into some sort of form after that long-term injury with some game time tonight. But Romain Poit is going to go to the TMO here, and I suspect there may have been some foul play. The player who's down injured is Albertus Buckle.
I think it might have been Ziriakashvili by the sound of it. There's no arms, is there? No arms, probably a tad late. And that's horrible when you're not facing the right way and there's no arms. That's dangerous. It's a great ball, to be fair, from Albertus Buckle. had a chance to say it there.
Yeah, he's just been smashed illegally, it looks like, there by a 19-stone Georgian prop coming at him at some pace.
Be a yellow card here.
Il y a deux circonstances aggravantes, c'est en retard et en plus à l'épaule, donc c'est carton jaune sur le plaquage pour le 17.
He can have another shave now. It's the end of his game, Zerigashvili, so Clermont will finish with 14 men.
There's a lot of Georgians within the top 14, high quality players. You just think that level of discipline is what lets them down. They're really physical players, obviously quite big units. And they always seem to be at the centre of discipline issues, whether it be just giving away so many penalties within a game, or they cost their team 10 minutes in the sin bin and they're down to 14. It's something that Georgians have to work on.
Up goes Ross Skeet. Clermont look as if they've got the victory wrapped up here, but they do not want to concede the try bonus point that they currently hold. And if Grenoble score another try here, that is what potentially could happen. McLeod, Jonathan Best. Fahamahina makes the tackle. Right, Chris Farrell. Charles McLeod and all the forwards wrapping in around the corner. And off goes Buckle for the line, and he's over! Buckle belts over. And I've been waiting to say that for quite some time, and there's a punch-up that's broken out here, and they're all pouring in. Rougerie at the hub of it. A little bit of frustration for Clermont. They've done some great work on the road here to secure what looks likely to be a victory now, but they know that to get into the top 2 and the top 14, they need to pick up as many points as possible in the final 3 rounds, and they might just have exceeded one of those points here.
It's great from Grenoble. They've gone back to where they've really had some success within this game.
On n'a pas de nécessité à durcir le jeu, donc on va calmer tout le monde. Vous remplissez votre rôle de capitaine, vous parlez à vos joueurs pour les calmer. Il reste pas grand-chose, on va jusqu'au bout ensemble, d'accord?
As we hear the referee, just talk to the captains, go and speak to your teams, calm them down. A fantastic effort from Grenoble to get back in the game. They're dead and buried 5-10 minutes ago.
Well, 2 converted tries, and Grenoble win this. Great carry there by the experienced Florian Faure, and then setting it up for the replacement prop forward Albertus Buckle, just to surge over.
We talk about the bonus point for Clermont. Be very frustrating. If they lose that at the end of this game, that could be vital for them and might see them end up in the barrage.
Derrière, John.
Charles McLeod.
On reste bien attentif, Cyril et
13 points the difference, Jonathan Wisniewski. Now, can Clermont reclaim the extra point? Wisniewski gathers and launches one a long way downfield. This is Lopez.
16, on tient la position.
Oh, great take by Benjamin Thierry. Brilliant. Lopez must have thought he'd done enough there to get the ball over the head of the French international winger. Here's Delaney. An all-black himself, capped once. He's off to Newcastle Falcons, one of Tom May's old clubs next season. Parra tries to roll his foot over the ball. One to contest there. No, and he's another throat hold. And you could probably hear the cries of anguish there.
C'est bon, le ballon est là, le ballon est là. Jouez le ballon maintenant.
McLeod, Aplon chases. Springbok for Springbok again. Grenoble down to 14 men. Remember, Clermont have a man on the bin, Zerigashvili, for the illegal shoulder charge on the Grenoble try score, Albertus Buckle.
Mais c'est un moule. Et alors, c'est un maul. Il n'y a pas besoin de
Benjamin
sortir sur un
Thierry's in a
maul.
bit of a sore spot. I think he's got a problem with his shoulder after that hit on Delaney.
Ça jaune, s'il vous plaît.
Just looking at the end of the season for Clermont, they have Toulon at home, and as you suggested, you think that Toulon might bring a weakened team, if there is such a thing as a weakened Toulon team, to the Massif Central next week. Here's Thierry. That was a great take over his shoulder from the punch-through kick from Camille Lopez. And then Clermont, they finish away to Montpellier, who could have a lot to play for in that final game, whether it is a place in the barrage or a 7th place finish in the top 14, which would take them into a Champions Cup playoff. So still a lot of work for Clermont to do.
Yeah, and you think perhaps if they get a win here, Toulon have won, potentially going up there to the Massif Central with a weak inside. Montpellier should be in with a shout. You look at their side, the likes of René Ranger, they need to be fighting for those spots.
They're currently tied on 7th spot. Montpellier with Bordeaux-Bègles. They both have 55 points apiece, and that's the end for Benjamin Thierry, who did damage that shoulder. Grenoble play Toulouse at home next week, and Toulouse, like Clermont, will definitely come here to win, to try and increase their run of 5 consecutive victories and their attempt to reach the summit of this top 14, or certainly, if not the summit, the top 2 places.
Arguably the form side of the top 14 at the moment, Stade Toulousain.
And Toulouse and Oyonnax putting together decent runs. And that is Gengenbacher risking a charge down. Camille Lopez dancing away and finding Parra. Gio Aplon, I haven't seen too much of Aplon today until now. That's what he can do. Here's Wisniewski, now Hart. He's taken up a station on the wing, the replacement scrum half. Here's Buckle. Jonathan Best. Wisniewski, Ross Skeet. Wisniewski. Oh, and Chris Farrell, he threw an intercept against Bayonne 2 weeks ago, and he has released Fofana, and Clermont do recover the try bonus point. That is if this try is allowed, because Romain Poit is going to check here with the TMO. But you do not, or you must not, take risks when players like Fofana are around.
It's going to be a tough ball to throw. Fofana put some real line speed on, and that ball's gone backwards. This is a legitimate try. And you let someone, as you say, like Fofana, get a head start, you're never catching him. That ball was never on.
Well, it was a very costly intercept that Chris Farrell threw against Bayonne. Grenoble at that stage were just about in the game. And to be fair to Grenoble, they are chasing the match. They're 13 points down. We're well into the final 10 minutes, and you can understand why Chris Farrell would be attempting to find somebody in space outside him. But what it's resulted in doing is it gives Clermont definitely the game, and it gives them the margin of 3 tries and that extra point. And it could come down to 1 point at the end of this season in terms of the top 2 in this table.
Well, you think of the fixture tomorrow, the big Paris derby. Toulouse on fine form, heading to Grenoble, who are struggling at home, have we seen. You know, the fine margins are what makes the difference in the top 14, and we see the congestion both in the barrage fight, in the relegation fight, and certainly at the top of the table.
Yeah, Racing Metro at home tomorrow against Stade Francais in the Paris derby. 4th against 5th, or 5th against 4th, Racing in 5th place. And that's live on Sky Sports as well. 3:15 kickoff.
As you say, you can understand why the option to take that pass was chosen, but Really, someone the size of Farrell, he should have probably just taken that up. He's going to make some good yards.
Restez, bleu. Restez. Jouez le ballon.
Parra. And again, Clermont just got to make sure they don't concede a late try here. Here's Grice. Fine athlete, Rory Grice.
Ça ne bouge pas, ça ne bouge pas. Réception
Scrum
bleue,
to
ça ne
Grenoble.
bouge pas. Non, ça n'a pas bougé.
And look at the
Réception
games
de
next week.
Chandelle.
Oyonnax
Mais les bleus.
fighting for a place in the barrage. They're at home to Lyon, who are pretty much relegated. Grenoble, Toulouse, Bordeaux, Bègles against Bayonne. Bayonne close to the foot of the table. Castres, Brive. That's
Réception.
a massive game in terms of the relegation fight. La Rochelle, Racing Metro, Stade Francais, Montpellier. Racing and Stade going head-to-head tomorrow, and Clermont, Toulon.
Rapprochez, rapprochez.
Fascinating, isn't it, that someone with a big name team is gonna face the drop. You think of the budget at Lyon,
Flexion.
you know, they're pretty much gone already. Someone big is going with them.
Lié.
That repeat of the
no,
Champions
no.
Cup final is
Right,
live
right,
on
right,
Sky
right,
Sports
right.
next weekend.
Comment? Mais ils sont
Clermont,
pas,
Toulon,
ils
of
sont pas
course,
en contact
meeting
avec
in
les épaules, hein, sur les dernières. Enfin, je regarde.
2 Champions Cup finals in the last
Allez,
3
de
years.
l'espace jaune.
Toulon winning on both occasions and securing
Flexion.
a Champions Cup hat-trick, and they're now going for back-to-back doubles, Toulon,
Lié. Jeu.
having beaten Castres in the top 14 final last season. And the ball is eventually just scrambled into touch,
J'entends rien.
and this match just dribbling away now, and it will be a very satisfactory night this for Clermont.
And a very
Voilà, c'est un autre
unsatisfactory
joueur qui
night
joue le
for
ballon.
Grenoble.
Ouais.
You know, they really need to start picking up some points. Losing confidence, losing form at this stage of the season is a dangerous thing, as we see the supporters here, that they really understand the predicament that this club is faced with.
Avancez.
Toulouse coming to the ground next weekend, as we've talked. It'll be a difficult ask for Grenoble here.
Brive and Grenoble on 48 points at the end of round 24. Castres 47, Bayonne 47, Lyon 37. And you feel now that those are the sides who are going to wrestle to avoid that second relegation spot alongside Lyon. La Rochelle could yet be pulled into it, but it's probably unlikely now, as they're on
Les deux
52
liaisons, s'il vous
points.
plaît.
Mighty performance from Nick Abandon, another great try to add to the glittering
Non,
collection.
on sera trop loin. Rapprochez, là, rapprochez.
Usually finishes the
Voilà.
game on the flank. Remember, Zirigas
Propre,
Billy
c'est
is in the
là,
bin.
propre. Flexion. Lié.
I think backs quite enjoy a little stint on the side of the scrum every now and again.
Do they feel like real men now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel like you can grow a beard and
Well, there's the final whistle, and Grenoble are beaten at home again. Clermont picked up the bonus point, and they move on to 67 points and back into second place in the top 14.
Déjà, bravo, hein, prestation de troisième ligne. Là, je t'ai vu en mêlée, les appuis bien.
Arrête. Ah, j'ai suppléé, on a été puni par notre indiscipline dans notre camp, donc voilà, bon, on est évidemment très content du résultat. Après une déconvenue, certes en finale de Champions Cup la semaine dernière, donc voilà, le groupe vit toujours, on a quelque chose à aller chercher, voilà, on a essayé d'y croire jusqu'au bout en tout cas.
C'était important, hein. On vous a vu très concentré à l'entraînement. Avant le match de rentrée, elle était importante cette victoire pour vous.
Bien sûr, c'est très important. Voilà, tous les matchs maintenant tous les points ramassés vont être très importants jusqu'à la fin de l'aventure. Donc on y croit, on y est. Et maintenant, on va finir correctement.
Bon, et ton expérience en troisième ligne, tu aimes?
Écoute, c'est pas la première, mais bon, j'espère, je suis bien moi derrière, ça me va bien.
Merci. Merci. Je peux y aller? Bon, Fabien, bien sûr beaucoup de déception, malgré beaucoup de cœur à l'ouvrage. Qu'est-ce qui vous a manqué d'après toi ce soir?
Beaucoup trop de choses quand on prend 40 points à la maison. Voilà, ça a beau être le vice-champion d'Europe, on y a mis beaucoup d'énergie, mais on se rend compte qu'aujourd'hui ça suffit plus. Voilà, il reste 2 matchs pour sauver le club. Moi, ça fait 10 ans que je joue ici et je ne veux pas le revoir en Pro D2. Alors, on a pris un coup sur la tête, mais on va se relever. Enfin, voilà, on va retrousser les manches avec les mecs qui seront là lundi et on va tout faire pour sauver ce club parce qu'il le mérite.
Tu le dis, hein, avec les mecs qui seront là, parce qu'il y a eu pas mal de casses en plus de ça, donc ça ne va pas vous aider. Hein.
Ouais, non, ça ne va pas nous aider maintenant. Voilà, il faut s'en prendre qu'à nous aussi. Et comme je dis, voilà, on n'a pas le droit de baisser la tête. C'est rien que pour les gens qui sont là, pour nous, pour tout ce club. Je pense que voilà, un stade comme ça en Pro D2, ça ferait chier. Donc voilà, il y a une semaine encore pour tout travailler. Il y a un gros morceau qui arrive, mais on se doit de lever la tête.
Merci, Fabien.